farmers will never watch YouTube. Ever. That's exactly what Shaun Haney from Lethbridge, Alberta heard with his own ears.
Many times.
Not just once.
Oh, many times.
How did it go? How did the conversation go?
Well, you gotta remember, Gary, this is the early days of YouTube, right?
Right.
And so we started creating agricultural content, putting it on YouTube, farmer features, going to trade shows and conferences, and advertisers, agencies, and companies would tell me all the time, this is all really cool. Farmers will never watch YouTube.
Well, they can't. How can they watch YouTube, Shaun, if they're in the barn milking cows? How can they watch YouTube if they're out in the back 40 on their John Deere tractor? Like, just so you know, Shaun Haney is the founder of Real Agriculture. His website, over what, 1 million YouTube views?
We do over 1 million YouTube views a year.
You've got a show on Sirius called Real Ag Radio.
Yes.
You are an expert in the world of agriculture, and you take your message literally all over North America.
Yeah, telling the stories of what's going on the farm.
But the early days, 3 years into YouTube, because it was around what, 2008?
2008, yeah.
Tell the story of the opposition, the obstacles, the resistance that you ran into.
Well, there was lots. We're doing this in a coffee shop here. There's people looking at us like as if we're normal. You got to take yourself back to 2008, 2010, where this was weird. You just didn't do these things. This was, doing strange things and communicating, and really trying to tell stories. And so I had a lot of people that said, that sounds really cute or looks cute. What are you doing, dude? Like, find a real job. And I pushed through. I just love the opportunity to help people tell stories and really put a focus on the industry of agriculture, and really created a media company from ground zero. I was running a seed company, a family seed company, started putting out like a little pamphlet on a quarterly basis called the Haney Farms Quarterly, was writing a column. And it just all of a sudden, maybe had one too many pints with a buddy on a weekend and said, I'm going to buy the URL, Real Agriculture. And from there, off and running.
Okay, so in terms of historical context, your YouTube channel, Real Agriculture, it sounds to me in many respects, it's kind of like how Gary Vaynerchuk got started with Wine Library TV. Are there similar parallels?
I think there is, because at the beginning you really don't know what the hell you're doing, right? You're sort of like, hey, I have an interest in this. I see this as an opportunity. I started out similar to Gary, where he was doing wine reviews. I just brought a camera and was going to trade shows and being like, hey, tell me about your product, or talk about this issue that your company's really focused on. And those were like little 4 to 8 minute pieces, little vignettes, not edited. They were very real, hence the Real Agriculture, and we just kind of kept rolling with it.
You couldn't have picked a category though, like wine. Everyone loves wine.
I know.
Here we are in a coffee shop and everyone's dying for wine. Stephanie's over there hoping that her day ends with wine, but you're talking about extremely niche agriculture.
But a critical industry. An industry that has, contributes so much to the national GDP of not only Canada but also the United States. And an industry that honestly isn't spoke to a lot. It's spoken to quite often through the written word or through farm broadcasting and farm radio. And we were like a different option. We were a different distribution channel using YouTube and Twitter in the early days. Now, of course, Instagram and TikTok and all the others. There's probably been 3 social media platforms created between when we first started this discussion and now.
Right.
But really an industry that was hungry for content. And that was really the key.
Because really, every category, including agriculture, farming, wouldn't matter what it is, needs what you're telling us, Shaun. They need a place to go so they can view content on their terms.
Exactly. On demand. We don't need to huddle around the TV on a Thursday night to watch Seinfeld anymore. We watch Seinfeld whenever the hell we want. And that's really what a platform like YouTube really provides that opportunity. No different than podcasts, the same sort of thing. I broadcast every day 4:30 Eastern on Sirius, but you can, if you don't catch it on Sirius, you can also get the podcast whenever you want. Maybe it's Saturday morning. I'll get emails from people that'll say, hey, I I listened to Friday's show, and it's the Friday from like 3 weeks ago, and that's the critical part.
I know you very much subscribe, and I'm curious, and I think anyone watching would be curious to know your thoughts on this. I know you subscribe to the idea that today, everyone is a media company first, and they happen to do fill in the blank.
Absolutely.
Right?
The media component should not be the afterthought. You know, obviously in product development, you work on the product, you make sure it's time and tested and it shows up and you've got the data to share with your customers. But you also have to, at the front end, to be thinking about the communication, and it's critical that you own that process, that you own the messaging and you own the brand of what you're actually trying to do, and not being old school, sort of like, here it is, tell us what you think, and letting others sort of tell that story. You really need to lead the charge to make sure. It's a noisy world out there. It's incredibly noisy, but you've got to be able to pierce through it, cut through it, and really that's on you to do that.
What I love about Shaun and studying his work, that he is not just theorizing and philosophizing, he's actually doing. Real agriculture is a real thing, real ag radio on Sirius, and it all came from someone who is curious enough to dare to go forward.
Curiosity is one of the best characteristics that any entrepreneur can have.
What is your overarching message? If anyone wants to get a hold of you, Shaun, and understand a little bit more about why they should book you for keynotes and other different speaking engagements, what can you share?
Oh, well, for sure. You can always email me, shaney@realagriculture.com, or find me on social media. I'm definitely on LinkedIn. That's a great way to get a hold of me. And would love to chat with your meeting, your internal conference, and really help you try to bust through this noisy channel that we're all trying to deal with, and make sure you are your own media company.
Shaun Haney from Real Agriculture, 1 million YouTube views a year. Can't be wrong. Never forget, it's been said, you are only one story away from creating your own legend. When you take into account, you can never create a legend without a story, even if it goes back to the Haney Quarterly in Lethbridge, Alberta. Thanks so much for doing this, Shaun.
Hey, thanks a lot, Gary. Really appreciate it.